guys, welcome back to class. And as I promised, today we'll be looking at the next topic of our session, known as truth. All right, and at the background we had Belia Bell introducing us to this topic. All right, and just a quick recap on our previous class. We looked at the theory. We looked at the theory of being, which is the theory of being one. Okay, and this theory, just to recap, says all creation is in constant motion towards and from truth. Okay, all creation is in constant motion towards and from truth. Okay, and the last session, if you missed it, you can find it in the previous videos on this playlist. We introduced the theory, of course, some of its major constructs, and we looked at the first topic, which was ideas, because one of the major constructs of the theory is that ideas are powerful and ideas shape reality. Okay, so we looked at ideas at a basic level, what they are. We say they are thoughts or word, you know, that is waiting to be expressed. That's an idea. Okay, and now we're going to look at truth. Okay, we're going to look at truth, because truth is also an idea. But the difference between truth and other ideas is that truth, remember, characteristics of ideas. We said ideas, just to elaborate my point on the contrast between truth and ideas. We say ideas have power. Ideas create. Okay, and we said everything that we see around us came from an idea. Everything, including that big ship there. Everything, even this pen, starts as an idea. So ideas create. Okay, we also said ideas have life. Ideas have life, meaning they start and end. Ideas have something called a life cycle. Okay, we said ideas have something called a life cycle, where they start or get into your conscious. They introduce. When you hold on to it, it grows and it matures and declines, and that is the end. But also we said ideas have the ability to keep us in cycles. Ideas have the ability to keep us in cycles, going round and round and round. Yeah, and we also said ideas don't move in a straight line. They meander. We said on average a human being has around 5,000 thoughts or not less than 5,000 thoughts in a day, but the ones that he holds on to, or the one that they hold on to, become the reality. So we said reality is an idea that you hold on to. That becomes reality. So we looked at Tom, for example, and said Tom is a banker. A banker is an idea. A banker is an idea. And Tom is a banker because he believes that is the reality. He is held on to this idea. And just like any idea, if a banker was invented by a human being who had an idea to start the bank, and it has a life cycle. Okay? So there you can see reality is what you hold on to. So based on these characteristics that we've spelled out here, we can now look at truth. What is truth? Very interesting. Very interesting. I would advise, if you can, subscribe to this channel so that we go through this theory together. And I also welcome you to challenge this theory, okay? Because it is just a theory. There are many theories out there, and this is just one of them. You can challenge this theory, okay? And if you have a doubt, and it's okay to doubt this theory, because it's a theory, okay? So let's move on to truth. Now, truth is very, very interesting. Truth is very interesting. Truth what is truth? What is truth? I'll say truth is an idea or a word that cannot be challenged, that is final, that is powerful. Truth, I can best describe or draw truth like this: truth as a full stop. Truth is final. A proclamation that cannot be challenged, cannot be moved, that is all powerful. In fact, I looked up at ChatGPT and it says truth is alignment between perspective, statement, and existence, which I think is a very good description of what we mean by truth. It is an alignment. It cannot change between perspective, statement, and existence. Okay? So, in other words, truth is final. The theory says truth, all ideas come from truth or one. Truth here is also one. Okay? All ideas come from truth. Okay? So, whichever idea you can think of, it comes from truth. and goes back to truth. The theory of being one says everything is in constant motion. If you were to look at the side of this diagram, thing goes back. An idea goes back. But this doesn't move. Ideas move. But truth does not move. Cannot be moved. It is absolute and final. Ideas have that, they move. But truth is firm. Okay? Truth does not move. Okay? So I would refer to the good book, because I mean it's a book that I know, one that I can refer to. It says, in the beginning there was the Word, and the Word was God. Truth is final. It doesn't change. Okay? So, truth is right here. And there are many ideas in this world. If you put a compass here, north, east, south, west, there are many ideas in this world. Okay? And we say all ideas, this theory says all ideas come from one. We say there is no good or bad. That is one of the constructs of this theory. There is no good or bad. We can just say maybe it's positive or negative. Okay? There is nothing good or bad. It is what is labeled that makes it so. Okay? So, which ideas do we have that seem to be very powerful here? If we think about politics, politics is an idea, or democracy is an idea. Which other idea can we think of? So ideas, all ideas come from here, from the truth, and go back. And what is interesting is that when these ideas come, different ideas that we have all around the world, all these ideas move towards the truth. And when this happens, we start seeing friction. We start seeing friction. It looks like chaos. But in truth, truth reveals all ideas. So as ideas move closer to truth, they are revealed and they melt away. How I can best describe this is, let me try and illustrate to you here so that you understand. Truth is like, we say ideas, if we were to have ideas here and versus the truth, we'll say ideas move like this. But truth has no beginning and has no end. Truth. To infinity. A truth does not have no beginning and no end. At this time, in ages past, in the future, it will still remain to be truth. It doesn't change. So, an idea has a beginning and end. If you think about it, there's nothing. We've had very many ideas, even companies, businesses that have been formed that began and end. There is nothing, no idea that has no end. But truth has no beginning, has no end. It continues to infinity. Okay? So that is one major difference between truth and an idea. Truth is just one, and it doesn't change. Okay? And truth is very powerful.